Hi everyone, my name's Siara. I'm going to give you a quick background on myself before I delve into kind of the academics. But I'll talk to you a little bit about anticipation deception. So I am 22. I grew up in Kent. I spent a lot of my childhood playing sport, from gymnastics to swimming, but mainly netball. So I don't come from a massive football background, and dare I say, I'm a Loughborough University student. I studied sport and exercise science, and I graduated in the summer just past. So I'm no stranger to the fact that I didn't study the most mainstream of degrees, given the fact that I'm a young female Asian working in a football academy. My grandparents would often say to me, "Why are you choosing this degree?" It's very traditional. And to be honest, sport was the only thing I enjoyed growing up. I kind of gave maths a bit of a go. I did a bit of work experience in an accountancy firm. It wasn't really for me. I needed something a bit more dynamic, and football's definitely lived up to those expectations. So my granddad would still say to me, even when I was studying at Loughborough, be a doctor, be a lawyer, but it wasn't quite something that I wanted to get into, so here I am working in football. So as part of my degree, I did an internship at the Centre of Health and Human Performance, which is a sports medical clinic on Harley Street. I then became an intern at Chelsea in the academy, and I'm back there working full-time now. So, I don't have much of a football background, and I'm pretty sure I said in my interview at Chelsea that football is just the same as netball, but playing with your feet rather than your hands. So when I finished at Loughborough, or in my final year, I did my dissertation, and Chelsea gave me the chance to come back and do my dissertation with a sample of their players. So my dissertation was titled Anticipation, Deception and Situational Probability Information in a Premiership Football Academy. So let's unpick what these words mean. Anticipation is the ability to predict what's going to happen before the execution of an event. So let's take the example of a car. If you're driving in the fast lane and there's a guy in the pimped out white Mercedes swerving all over the place, as a good driver, you need to decide and anticipate whether he's going to pull out in front of you or not. Deception is hiding your true intentions, making someone think that you're going to do something when you're actually not going to do it. So if that guy in the white Mercedes is indicating that's a genuine action because he's telling us he's going to move, but if he's not, then that's deceptive. And situational probability information kind of speaks for itself. It's the likelihood of an event occurring. So what does this actually mean for my dissertation? So I looked at how players would anticipate if you were to deceive them, deceiving them being a step over. And I gave the players a likelihood of an event occurring and seeing how they would anticipate that event. So here we have a 10 by 10 metre set-up area. Player A is at the bottom of the screen, dribbling the ball towards player B at the top. So player B is actually our player of interest. So player A was told to not use a deceptive movement in this. His movement is genuine. And he was told to dribble the ball towards player B and take it to player B's right, so the far side of the screen. And we basically need to see if player B can anticipate this or not. So no step over, take the ball to the left, player B successfully stops the ball. So player B scored a 4 out of 4 on this, he did very well, but it's no doubt that he was going to do well on this, given that we told him his right-hand side there was 80% chance that ball was going to go to that direction. So let's have a look in the trials where a step over was used, if we were trying to deceive our opponents. So in this trial, a step over was given, and the ball actually went to the 20% side, so the side that the player didn't expect the ball to go to. So here we see step over to the left, taking the ball to the right, and player B can't respond. He was relying on the cues, the postural cues, and he didn't really use, or he used the information because he went to the 20% side. He went to the 80% side rather than the 20% side. So what was really interesting to see what would happen is the trials where we didn't expect the players to do so well. So in this next trial, we told them to use a step over again, and the ball was going to the 20% side rather than to the 80% side. So step over to the right and taking the ball to the left. Now, player B did really well in this trial to actually read what player A's true actions were. So in this situation, he actually responded 220 milliseconds before the foot-to-ball contact. So we call this advanced cue utilisation because he's responding before. The one which I showed you previously was a conservative strategy, which is where they wait longer to respond, and clearly he couldn't stop the ball. I'll skip through these graphs. So what does this mean for Chelsea moving forward with this data? So there's been a real debate about whether or not providing players with this situational probability information is beneficial or detrimental to their performance. The players clearly didn't perform so well in the trials where a step over was used, so it's something that's definitely worth training. But then do we train them to use a conservative strategy, to hold back, to wait for longer until they respond? Then you suffer you kind of have a risk of, are they going to be able to stop the ball or not? So I guess the next point to move forward with this information is sitting down with the coaches, designing training protocols to see how we can become better anticipators. We need to be better at reading the movements so we're not fooled by these moves and ultimately read the game a bit better. Thank you.